Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our featured facilitator conversation for the month of May. Today, we're going to be joined by a good friend of mine, Mr. Danny Morel, who I'm so excited to have this conversation with and with you all on living your Dharma. So, Dharma, when I think of the word Dharma, Danny Morel is one of the first people I think of. Dharma means essentially living your soul's purpose, your service to the world. And Danny Morel is somebody who really excels at that and just has the kind of that ability to find his Dharma in this life and is really living it in a profound and powerful way. So I thought, what better person to talk about Dharma with than Danny? So if you don't know Danny, quick background on Danny is that he is a life coach, spiritual teacher who guides millions of people globally to awaken and heal and transform their lives. He has a number one podcast, the Higher Self podcast on iTunes and Spotify. And his mission is to help awaken people to their highest purpose, their potential, and their power. Might I even say their Dharma? So please give a warm 40U welcome to my good friend, Mr. Danny Morel. Thanks for being with us today, brother.
Aaron, how are you?
I am great, man. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. I have to tell you the funniest thing that just happened.
Please.
Noticing that my battery is like dying on me, and I
Uh-oh.
literally ran out of the house. I'm like, Jen, find me the battery, find me the cord. And then I see that it was right here. I literally go like this, and you say, please welcome Mr. Danny Morel.
Talk about being in alignment, bro.
I know, right? I know.
You literally can't miss, dude.
How are you guys?
I'm good, man. The last time I saw you was at your event, actually. Was that
Yeah.
in February or?
Yeah, at the inner circle. That's right.
Yeah. It was a blast, man.
Yeah. And then well, you were supposed to come for the Cinco de Mayo party at the house, but some things happened.
Yep. I was bummed. I was super bummed,
That's all right. How's
but I'm
your
sure
wife?
it was fun. So,
Yeah.
dude, I want to get into this conversation with you on, the title is Living Your Dharma.
Mhm.
And I guess I just want to kick off the conversation by asking you, Danny, what does it mean to you to live your Dharma?
I don't know. That's my honest answer. I don't know. And I don't know because Dharma is a word that I don't readily use, quite
Right.
frankly. But if it has anything to do with living your purpose, what I can tell you is, first and foremost, it means to go on the journey of discovering the three things that I think most human beings have a difficult time discovering by asking the three questions that I think most human beings are afraid to ask. Number one, who am I? Right? I think everything starts with that. Is
100%.
is being ultimately clear with who you are, right? And then once you can answer that one, the second question is, who am I not? And that was a big one for me because I was so conditioned through fear to be someone that I'm really not. I'm really not,
Mhm.
And once I discovered who I am and who I'm not, then the third question was, well, what do I want? And you get to ask and answer that question when you're in alignment with who you are, who you're not, and then naturally what you want in life will become very present to you. And so what I wanted in my life was, I wanted truth, I wanted limitless potential and possibilities, and I wanted to show other people how to do that as well. It's interesting because even when I was in real estate, I built a real estate business through the model of like real estate coaching. And so I was always trying to help people like get it. Even in my wounded self, I was trying to help people to get it. And so when I started my journey and I sat with ayahuasca for the very first time, that's what I thought, oh my God, I've been showing them to get the wrong thing. Like this is what everybody wants. And so, man, Aaron, now I I don't even know if you can call it like live your dharma or live your purpose, because like
Yeah.
those words are essentially like out of you and separate from you, and just me, bro. I'm just
Mhm.
I'm just me.
Yeah. No, that is for sure the answer. And you definitely hit the definition on the head of Dharma, meaning purpose. It's commonly used as that kind of a word, but purpose, your life path, your soul's path, your destiny. But I looked it up um online, and the exact definition is right way of living.
Mm.
So being in alignment, right? And the way I wanted to gear this conversation is more of like in alignment with your soul's purpose, your service to the world.
Yeah.
And you've been very successful in business in your past. You had a big awakening and a transition into spiritual teaching. Now you're a very successful spiritual teacher, thought leader in this field. So you're clearly someone who is living your dharma, and you just gave a great answer on what that means to you. But I don't actually know much about your personal transition story. I know you talked about ayahuasca played a big role in that, kind of moving you from the business world. I think you had mentioned you were overweight, unhealthy, and you
Yeah.
just kind of like radically shifted everything and ended up doing this. So like I'd just love to hear kind of a synopsis of how that transition happened, and how did you sort of like find the dharma you're living now as a spiritual teacher?
Yeah, everything is perfect, guys. That's the first thing you have to understand and accept. Everything is perfect. Even what you don't like about your past, even what you wish maybe didn't happen, it's like there's a reason why it happened.
Yeah.
And I say that because I was born, or I selected, a father who didn't know his father and a mother who didn't know her mother. And
Wow.
so my dad was disconnected from his masculine energy, from knowing who he is, and my mom was disconnected from her feminine, and from her heart, and from love, quite frankly. And so if you could picture, like, as a little child, um, that's the energy and the frequency that I was brought up in. And
Mm.
so there was always something missing, right? There was always something just not there. And, eventually I just, like, to be honest, Aaron, I don't know what it feels like to have parents. Like, I don't know what it feels like to have anyone above me.
Hmm.
And maybe because I just didn't allow it, but like my dad wasn't available, and then my mom just didn't. My mom essentially became like my partner in co-parenting like my little brothers. It was that kind
Wow.
of a dynamic in my household,
Were you the oldest?
I was the oldest. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the oldest. And so what happened as a result of all of that was that I was always seeking love because I didn't receive love. And I was always seeking love outside of myself. I was seeking love in finding the one, the one partner. I
Hmm.
was seeking love in success. I was seeking love in fame, quite frankly. I was seeking love in power and in materialism, all things external.
Wow.
Yeah, and I got pretty good at it. I was vicious. I was a son of a bitch, man. I was the Gucci wearing, suit wearing, like Aston Martin driving, like
Nice.
competitive, egotistical, just bad, really bad. Um, and then my mom died, and that's when everything shifted for me, because I led my mom to religion. I led my mom to Christianity.
Ah.
And so as my mom was dying, like, she kept believing that Jesus was going to come and save her and heal her. And I saw my mom over a 5-year process basically wither away in front of me. And she essentially died right here, right in my arms, like right next to me. And that rocked my world, because then something was not right about the story I had been told about who God was. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just things no longer made sense to me. And that's when I got a divorce. I had an affair, quite frankly. And I actually even want to talk about that, because I was always, as a result of wanting power and success meant to me that everything had to be perfect.
Mhm.
And so I created this picture perfect, like, family, facade, basically.
Mhm.
Or Aaron, deep inside, I was miserable. I was miserable. And that, by the way, that's not to put the blame on anybody outside of me. That was my own doing, because I did not have the courage to speak my truth. I didn't have the courage to lead. I didn't have I wasn't in my masculine energy, quite frankly,
Hmm.
because I was afraid. Because doing all of that meant confronting, right? Confronting my deepest fear that someone maybe could reject me or not love me, you know? And
Yeah.
so as a result of that, I was always the good guy, right? Because I wanted everybody to like me. And yeah, and then one day I did what I never, right? Whatever the pastor said, whatever I followed everything by the book, man. I was like the golden child.
Hmm.
And one day, man, I secretly had this crush on this girl for like 3 years. And one day it was just like it just happened, you know? And it was for me, after my mom's passing, it was like the key that unlocked the gate, and like it hurt people, and it was, you know, quote unquote wrong, you know,
Yeah.
but for me and for who I am, I wouldn't be here without that. And can I tell you one more thing? I have to say one more thing.
Please.
The universe is so powerful. The way that all happened was like 2 weeks prior to that going down, we were on a trip in Havasupai Falls. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Oh, you got to look it up. It is the most majestic waterfall in probably in the world. It's
Wow.
in Arizona in the Grand Canyon, and you have to hike to
Oh,
get
okay. I
there.
think I've heard of this.
You have to reserve a spot to go there. Anyways, we're there, and this waterfall is coming down, and we're in like the little beach area. We're getting wet with the kids, so forth and so on. And I feel as though like the universe knew that I wouldn't have the courage to do anything about my situation. So my son is going down, and he's about to fall off a cliff of another waterfall. And basically, right? And so I jump in to save him, and I push him out of the way, and I go tumbling down. And I'm like, you know, in all of this mess, and I finally come up for air, and I'm exhausted from doing that. I find the energy to swim off, and I'm okay. And guess what is missing? My wedding ring.
Whoa.
Trip out on that, dude. It's like the universe literally go, okay, this is over. And that's when like everything started to unravel. It's kind of crazy, but that's the way it happened.
That's how the universe works, dude.
That's it, man. That's it.
It winks at us all the time, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
That's so amazing, man. You touched on something important, I think, about this conversation of Dharma, which is, we're taught by society that we need to like find your purpose in the world and then you'll be happy on the inside and feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you tried that approach, you got the fame, the money, the success, the family, and still you said inside I wasn't happy. And none of those out external things actually solve the internal problem. So
Mhm.
like there's one thing, guys, about Dharma is you don't seek your Dharma, your purpose in this life in hopes that it'll make you happy. You've got to find yourself and your happiness first, right? And then your Dharma will flow out of that
That's right.
happiness.
That is absolutely right. That is absolutely right. You know, so many of the people that we work with, they're like, what's my purpose? And like, you know, what is my gifting? And to be honest, like this just happened this week. I told the guy, let me ask you a question. Are you married? I said, no. Do you want to be married? I said, yeah. And then he said, I said, do you want to have kids? Say, yeah. And I go, well, do you want to be able to provide for them a home? He said, yeah. I go, how much is that going to take you? He goes, oh, and he gave me the number, and I go, you want to know your purpose? I said, go get that. Go put yourself in a position where you could financially provide as a man for your family. Like, go do that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And in that, let everything unravel, right? We get so caught up in the spiritual world. This is why, Aaron, spiritual people are broke.
Hmm.
Spiritual people are broke because they spend so much time here that they forget about here. And then like business people are so spiritually broke because they spend so much time here that they forget about here. Like we do live in the 3D world, right?
Yes.
So you gotta know to balance both.
I couldn't agree more, man. That's one of the most pervasive issues I see in modern spirituality is this approach of like the world is false, it's a dream, it's to be denied, you're just here to grow. And it's like, yes, you're just here to grow, but integrating into the 3D, showing up as who you are, being your authentic self in the 3D world is how you grow. You learn the lessons that life is teaching you in the 3D world. It's an interface for consciousness. It's the learning ground. We came here to do this, right? Not to ignore it.
That's right. I want to speak because Nikki and Elizabeth, thank you so much for your comments because it opened the door for me to share something. I just did a call and someone asked me, he said, you seem to have mastered like balance between your masculine, balance between your feminine, so how do we master that, right? How do we, and I said, you want me to be honest? I said, he says, yeah. And I said, by realizing that there is no two, it's just one,
Mm-hmm.
it's you. When
For
you
sure.
eliminate the separation, right, between the two, and you just be you, you just be you in the most authentic way that you possibly can, you can forget about this and this. The real
Mm-hmm.
journey is remembering that you're this. And in
Yeah.
this, we find oneness with source, oneness with you, oneness with everyone. So I understand, but I think it's like, sometimes when we're on this spiritual journey, it's like everything is so hard. Oh my God, it's so hard to find the balance between my masculine and my feminine.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to, well, life is not meant to be hard, guys. You are literally one with the creator. You are literally one with God. You are literally one with the universe. You have learned that life is meant to be hard
Mhm.
because your parents taught you that, because society has taught you that. And so you find ways to make life hard. Heal that story, life gets easy, abundant, and flow and fun.
It's so true, man. I've really stepped into that understanding recently in my life through the success that I've had in my Dharma. It's like this distinction between what you said, life is not meant to be hard. We could say life is meant to be challenging, but not hard, right? We're not supposed to get our asses kicked and suffer nonstop. Like you can absolutely excel in your life. Like I'm living just such a beautiful life. I'm so grateful for. And yet at the same time, I have all kinds of challenges in my life, but I love them because they contribute to my growth. So it's like challenging, but easy at the same time.
That's right. That's right. It's literally like you get to a place, guys, where you start realizing this is why I don't feel called, for example, to sit with plant medicine anymore, because life becomes the medicine.
100%.
Literally becomes the
100%.
medicine. It just brings to you, hey, look, Danny, look at your BS. Hey,
Hmm.
are you gonna look at, all right, you don't want to let it go? Here you go. Here's some medicine for you. Oh,
Yeah.
and then right, that's right. And then you go, okay, wait a minute. Where am I blocked? And then I literally, what I do is just I just speak. Thank you. Remove from me. Show me. Heal the parts of me. I don't
Mhm.
want to be this version of myself anymore. And then that's it. And I let it go
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
watch it happen. That's it.
Dude, preach, bro. You're speaking my language right now,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, amen.
Hallelujah, brother. I need a tambourine.
Yeah,
That's it, dude. It's what you're saying is so on point. I hope everyone's really paying attention to this because so much of finding your path is like you don't find your path. God knows your path. God places you on your path when you stay in alignment with God and your soul's purpose. So like that is a journey of trust and surrender. And a big part of you mentioned like in spirituality, everybody makes everything so hard. It's because we're trying to be the doers who are going to do everything on our own effort
that's
rather
right.
than just trusting and surrendering that God's will is already done. All I have to do is be in alignment with it and I can't lose. And that's the journey of daily surrender.
Well, let me take it a step further, Aaron, because remember, this is one of the things that I love about you, man, is that you were the first one. And this week on the podcast, tomorrow actually, what's his name? But he said it as well. It's like we had that moment where we were like, and
Mm-hmm.
who is God? I was like, you are, and you're like, that's right. And so even that, like when you, and this is energetically the scariest thing for people to realize is that even that there is no separation
Yeah.
between between you and God, that it's one.
Hmm.
So then it's like, for me, and forgive me, I don't mean to like disrupt any of your teaching or anything like that,
Not
but
at
for
all.
me, it's like I get to declare, I get to decide, I get to, and if you were to ask me like why has everything exploded for me, it's for two things. Number one, I have stepped into my authentic self. I no longer care what you think about me. I no longer care how you are going to
It's
react.
huge.
I no longer need you to validate me. Today, somebody put a comment and he was like, I'm always open to loving debate. And I was like, and I normally don't even respond, but I said, but that's the difference, is that I don't need to debate you.
Yeah.
You need to debate me because I am mirroring to you a part of you that is lacking in your life. And so you need to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to let you know you're right. You're right. That's fine. And so then I said, so you can keep giving me all of your beautiful energy, or you can allow me to be me, and you can allow you to be you, and you can take all the energy that you're wasting on me and put it into your life's purpose. You're
Yeah.
a tainted soul. I just
Fake a
deleted all of
charlatan.
them. Yeah. I'm not even, I don't mess with any of them.
Yeah. Yeah. When you know who you are, you don't have to make any converts, prove anything, defend anything.
Don't.
It's a nice space to be in, isn't it?
It's the rarest space to be in. I remember, Aaron, what one of the moments, the defining moments of my life. I had a major issue with Jesus because of, my religious upbringing,
Mhm.
and I was reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, which, God, I love that book.
Love that book, dude.
Yeah, I literally think I need to just start reading it again, because it was the book that I was like, no, don't go, no, you know. But in that book, I was on a walk where it was like I can remember exactly where I was at. I can remember the exact place where I finally was like,
Mhm.
oh Jesus, I get it now. And it's like he was like, you get it? I was like, oh, I'm sorry I was ever mad at you. And he was like, don't worry, it's just part of your journey. It's all good,
Yeah.
right? And then when I got home, I realized like I no longer wanted to be famous. Now, understand this. Understand that when your entire life you want something, and now all of a sudden you no longer want it, get ready, because that's when shit gets scary.
Yeah.
I have never had a panic attack, but I had a panic attack in that moment. It was like 100 ego deaths at once, because it's like, well, then what am I here for? I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah. I
I
know
thought I
the
was gonna
feeling.
die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
As a side tangent, we won't go down, but a lot of people that feel that anger at Jesus who come out of a religious upbringing and they kind of like throw Jesus into the garbage for a while, they're actually angry at Paul, not Jesus. Like,
oh,
you know what I mean? All the stuff that like, why did you have to like die for my sins and I have to confess you as Lord and Savior? That's so dumb. I don't believe that. Actually, Jesus didn't say any of that shit.
no, he didn't, because he wasn't here to
All
save us.
Paul.
It's all Paul.
You're angry at Paul, bro, not Jesus.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Um, I love it so much, dude. And another important point you just touched on there is like when I know who I am, I don't have to defend anything. I can just be in alignment with me and my path. And that's where you gain your power to speak your word
That's
into
right.
manifestation. Because like, dude, if we're God in different forms, I'm one expression of the divine, you're one expression of the divine, then what feels good to me is what feels good to God in this expression. So why can't I speak from that authority and power and say, I want this, I will this, so I know that it's God's power willing it through me. I'm just the vessel.
That's right.
So it's like it seems like I'm doing things, but I'm just so in alignment with God that I only want to do what God wants. I
That's right.
genuinely don't want any kind of personal merit or gain. I want to let this expression through me that God is trying to manifest. That becomes the highest excitement and the highest purpose. And when you're in that excitement of manifesting the higher self of who you are into the 3D world, like that's what Dharma really is, if it's anything. And that's where your power comes from, where you can say with Jesus, I only do what pleases him,
Mm,
you know?
I love that. And I'm gonna, and then like, think about this, guys. Think about how much you need, right? Really, really think about how I need to make more money. I
Yeah, yeah.
need to find a partner, right? When you can work through your need, you're free.
Mm-hmm.
You no longer need anything. And I've gone down this rabbit hole with everything, even food. I spent
Mm-hmm.
3.5 years fasting 23 hours a day because
Wow.
and then I would take it a step further. I would lift heavy weight on like the 20th hour of the fast, heavy deadlifts, heavy weight to just prove to show myself I don't even need the food.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's
Seriously.
powerful, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason why I bring that up is because now it's like I'm no longer, or you as a listener right now, when you no longer need people's attention, validation, respect, anything, you're free.
Yeah.
You're free.
That's
Because the opposite, this is the energy that the 3D world lives, right? We are societal beings because we are afraid to be our real self, and because we need the protection of the society. We need the validation of the group. Once you're out of that, sky's the limit.
yeah. It's so true, man. Like I say this often, you can only market to egos because only egos need something.
That's right. That's right.
When you don't need anything, how can someone market to you and sell you something?
That's right. That's right.
There's a amazing, probably my favorite section in A Course in Miracles that has this powerful phrase, and it goes into what this phrase means, and it unpacks it. And the phrase is, "I need do nothing." And it says, "I need do nothing" is a statement of allegiance, a truly undivided loyalty. And then it says, "Believe it for just one instant, and you will accomplish more than is given to a century of spiritual contemplation."
Wow.
Like, really know that you need nothing, that in God, all needs are provided right now. And you've gained more evolution than 100 years of reading books and all that stuff.
It resonates. It resonates.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, this is the question that comes up probably on a weekly basis almost in our 40U calls. And by the way, guys, I see we have some questions. We will reserve a few minutes for questions for Danny. If you
Yeah.
guys have a question about this topic, pop it in the Q&A tab, and I'll be reading those in a minute. But the last question I have for you, Danny, on this is, again, this is the question that comes up a lot, which is like, hey, I'm on my spiritual journey and like I've grown a lot. I've realized I'm super out of alignment in my current job. It's not my passion. It's not what I want to do. How do I transition into a career of my Dharma, my service, my passion? Like, how do I do that? And one of the first answers I usually give, Danny, is to quote Jesus, who says, "He who is faithful with little will be faithful with much," right? And I think a lot of times when people find themselves in that position where they're like, okay, I'm in a position in life, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, a career path, I'm not in alignment with where I want to be. I can feel that. And so how do I make the transition to getting into alignment? And I often say, can you be faithful with the little that God's given you here? Because if you're just trying to ditch and abandon where you're at now to try to reach for some higher purpose, you're actually kind of showing the universe, I don't know how to be faithful with what I'm given yet. And that means you're not a match to the bigger purpose that you're calling in. So I would love to hear you just kind of riff on like, what does it look like to you? What does it mean to you to be faithful with little? And how does that eventually lead you to your larger purpose?
Yeah, dude, there's so much here, and there's so many different ways I can take this, but like, I want you all to please listen to me. One of the things that the ego does is it tries to get you from where you are to some other place.
Yeah.
It tries to do that in your relationship. It's literally part of the fabric of society. Like, just look on Instagram. Look on Instagram, and
Mhm.
there's plenty of things to try to pull you out of your relationship, plenty of things to try to pull you out of your job, your career, plenty of things. It's literally the ego,
Yeah.
right? And it's a tough one because you constantly have to be like, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I don't want, right? I'll tell you a story, Aaron. I was a real estate broker. And I was a real estate, I was first a real estate agent. And I was a pretty good real estate agent. And then I became a real estate broker. And in becoming a real estate broker, deep inside of myself, I always knew I didn't want to wear a suit and tie every day for the rest of my life. It just, I didn't know what, I didn't know why. I just knew. I was like, I would look at the older brokers and you know, they're rich and successful and whatever. And I'd be like, I just don't want to be like that. That just doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
Right? So then here's what I did. I said the following, but I'm not leaving this until I master it. Because if I leave right now, then I am teaching myself that I could leave anything.
Yes.
I will continue
So
that
good.
pattern over and over and over. So you know what I did? This is how I talk to myself. Can I just be?
Please let it rip.
All of you, can you just like let me be me for a second?
I'll just chill for a
Danny.
second, please.
Yeah.
Please go ahead, Danny.
Okay. So here's what I say. I say, stop being a little bitch. You want out? Earn it.
Yeah.
Earn it. And so then here's what I would do. At that time, we were doing like, 300 million in annual sales or something like that, which put the average house value at 300,000. What is that? That's, I don't know, 1,000 sales a year,
Yeah.
whatever the number is, right? So I said, you get to leave when you do 1 billion in annual sales, but not just that. You get to leave when you do 1 billion in annual sales, but you're only working 2 hours a week. That's when you fucking master.
Ooh.
See, I make it so difficult that my ego goes, all right, let's get to work. And then I challenge myself, right? If I really want to eventually, Aaron, do you know how many broke life coaches there are? All of them.
A couple, dude.
All of them. Everyone's broke and unhealthy and unhappy.
Yeah.
It's easier to tell anyone else what to do than to actually do it to yourself. I wasn't going to be that guy. I wasn't going to be that. I'm having a 3D conversation with you, but bear with me because it will play out in your life's purpose. So then I sat there and I made myself figure it out. I made myself master the thing. And once I had mastered it, then I called in a buyer. I called in a buyer, said, I'm ready, I'm out of here. And then I transitioned into what we do now.
Wow, man. It's funny you say that because when I was a personal trainer for 8 years, especially when I worked at Google, but every gym I was at, this not problem, but this thing was apparent in every gym I worked at, which was personal trainers who were significantly overweight.
Dude, bro, you walk into any gym and I'm like, I look at the client like, what is wrong with you?
You don't think this is a misalignment?
Why are you giving that person money to train you when they haven't proven it themselves that they can do it for themselves? This doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Yep. If they can't do it for themselves, why do you think they can do it for you?
That's right.
And that's not to say that somebody who's overweight doesn't have some value to offer in fitness or doesn't know fitness. Like, that's not what we're saying. We're talking about embodiment here. I don't really care what you know, because what you know doesn't get you anywhere if you cannot embody what you know.
Aaron, this is a true story. One time I had a client and she was telling me about all this drama in life. And she was telling me about all her struggles and this and that and this. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot. Okay. I go, wait a minute. What do you do again? She says, I'm a therapist. You're a what? I can barely contain my eyeballs from popping out of my head. Do you know the amount of therapists that are out there that I would never, ever they haven't done the work on themselves.
Yeah.
But it's like for many people, it's like the cop syndrome, right? It's like you want to feel in a position of power because somewhere inside of you, you don't feel powerful.
Yep.
So yeah,
There's a woman in my family. I won't say on what side or who or where, but she is a therapist, and she has that kind of like fire hose syndrome of talking whenever you're with her. Like her mouth starts and just does not stop until the night is over. And like there's no real attempt at all to have a conversation or connect. It's just like, I'm going to absolutely fire hose you with my stream of consciousness. And I'm going to hope you're just going to listen and soak it all up. And it's draining to be around people like that. I
yeah,
call them like verbal vampires sometimes, because it's like they're so empty on the inside and they're not producing enough of their own energy. So they want to like suck it
suck
from other
yours.
people. So it's like, give me your attention, give me all of your attention. And you kind of feel that energy coming from them. And it's very exhausting to like try to hold space for someone who just doesn't stop. And she's a therapist. And I'm always like, if you cannot even listen to another person in a conversation, how are you going to switch gears that dramatically and like hold space for people in a therapy setting? It's just mind blowing to me. And I think it's a symptom of just the larger issue of the ego being inauthentic, is that because so few people in the world are embodied in their truth and who they are, you get people who will pay hundreds of dollars a session for somebody who's larger than they are, more out of shape than they are. I see it all the time. I'm like, dude, you're in better shape. You should train your own trainer.
That's right.
But
That's
it's
right.
like, if you're not embodied and authentic, you won't recognize it in others because you can't see what you haven't healed in yourself.
That's right.
So it's this pervasive problem. And if anything blocks you finding your purpose, a lack of embodiment is that thing.
That's right. That's right.
So good, man. So let's take some questions because we got some good ones here.
Let's do it.
Um, and yeah, feel free to throw more questions in the question chat box, guys. So Jacob asks, where should one begin on the path of finding themselves? And you kind of answered this a little bit on the who am I question, but
Yeah.
where should someone begin if they're trying to say, okay, I do want to get authentic, I do want to get embodied. Where do I begin? Where do I start?
I would say start asking yourself some very tough questions like, am I happy? Do I
Mm,
love myself? Do I know myself? Um, do I honor myself? Do I live in my truth? And
mm,
then start when you ask those questions, start, because here's the flip side of that question that you just asked me, Aaron, about wanting to leave to something else. Of course you do, because your old self created that career. Your
right.
old self created that relationship. Your old self, right? And so, of course, you might want something different, but there's still a lesson in it. And that's why I say master it. So that's where I would say to start, Aaron, is to start asking yourself some really tough questions. And then when you do that, start to notice the people in your life. Start to
Hmm.
notice the career in your life, start to notice the money in your life, and start to notice that in some way, shape, or form, they are all a reflection of the answers that truly come up if you're honest with yourself. That's a good place to start.
Dude, fantastic answer.
Yeah,
Radical self honesty and pay attention to the relationships you've attracted into your life.
that's right.
If you're allowing someone else to take advantage of you or be abusive in some way, that means you're doing that to yourself internally in some way. So, like, look at that question, contemplate that
That's right. Even mom and dad, by the way,
for sure.
even mom and dad. So yeah,
However, you allow others to treat you is the way you treat yourself at the deepest level.
that's right. That's right.
So good. And then I saw Elizabeth asked in the chat, how do you find the drive and motivation within yourself? I feel like I have a hard time motivating myself and feel more motivated around other people. So, like, where does a lack of motivation, what is causing the problem for somebody who has a lack of motivation?
It could be a lot of things. It could be a lack of clarity. It could be a lack of motivation is very masculine in energy, right? And so it could be a lack of clarity, vision, purpose of knowing what you want. And it could be a lack of believing that what you want is possible, knowing that
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you want is possible, right? If you are constantly playing a movie in your head, and you know the end of the movie, you're not going to want to watch it again. because you know the end of the movie, right? It's the same thing that happens in life. If you constantly know that A, like the thing isn't going to work, or B, that you're going to come up against resistance, you will find creative ways to avoid that resistance. That's where the medicine is for you. And I'm only sharing this because it's what I have had to live myself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Same, brother. We just had a retreat last weekend called Become the Creator here in Austin. And it was a 3-day retreat, and it's themed on the what's called the disciplines of the personality from the Law of One. And so the three disciplines are know thyself, self-awareness, accept thyself, self-love, and then the third is become the creator, which is like with your self-awareness and your self-love, put the masculine feminine principles together and become the creator of your reality. Stop being a victim, declare your word and your intention. And we went through I have something called the SQ chart where I go through the 7 energy centers and I show like in the lower 3 chakras, the main 5 blockages in each center. And in the root chakra, one of the main blockages is apathy, because the root chakra is what grounds us into physical reality, what makes us a human being, our primal nature, and it's what gives us the drive to be alive. So somebody who has a really balanced root chakra has a strong feeling of purpose for being alive. They wake up every day, with purpose in their heart. I want to be here. I want to live. And so apathy is one of the biggest blockages for the root chakra. And that's when you like kind of like what you just described, Danny, when you get to that place where you have no motivation because you're like, what's the point? What's the purpose of it all? Who cares? Why try anyway? That's the attitude of apathy. And it's exactly what you said. I think it's not having clarity on who you are, what your purpose is, what your desires are. When you don't have clarity, you'll feel a sense of purposelessness and hopelessness and apathy. And if you feel that, I would say this to anybody listening who feels that, I don't know what my purpose is. What's the point? It won't even make me happy anyway. If that's what you feel, then start asking those questions Danny was pointing to a minute ago. Like, get really honest with yourself. What energies have I allowed into my life? Where am I out of alignment? It's me who's stepped out of alignment. It's not that God or the universe has put me out of alignment or given me a life of purposelessness and hopelessness. I've wandered, deviated out of alignment. So those tough personal questions are the best place to start to get yourself back on the path again.
That's right. Absolutely. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Let's go.
Yeah, let's see. We got a lot of good ones. I'm trying to parse these out.
Sure.
Let's go with this is from someone who put anonymous, but they said, any advice on how to navigate creative blockages as it relates to fear of intimacy with the creator? So, very interesting question. How do you navigate creative blockages as it relates to fear of connection with the divine? So, maybe someone has a kind of fear of God because of a religious upbringing or some kind of conditioning around that word. How do you navigate around that to find your purpose?
Just to remove separation, remove the thoughts. Listen, first things first. You are not fear. You have learned fear. And on the other side of fear, this is so important you guys understand this. Matthias was on the podcast recently, and he told me something that it clicked for me. It's like we always see like fear as fear and love as love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Separated. And what he said is, he says, all is one. So it's actually like this. It's actually the same strain of energy, just broken or fragmented. And fear is over here and love is over here, right? And
Yeah.
so when you realize that all is one, then you get to start looking at your fear from a different perspective, and you get to start saying like lovingly to yourself, oh my God, there's just a part of you that is broken. And like you start giving that love, and then you start speaking to yourself and you start reprogramming yourself, right?
Yeah.
Anytime I have a negative thought, I say cancel, clear, delete, cancel, clear, delete, cancel, clear, delete. That's not me. That's not what I want. There is no space for any negativity in my life, you know?
I love it.
Yeah. So when you start doing that, then for this specific question, I would say maybe for a second, don't be so attached to the need for the intimacy. Just let go. Just let go. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you're at right now. and just slowly start to recognize that maybe, just maybe, there is no separation from you and the creator.
Mm-hmm.
And just leave space for that. And then I would say tonight, when you go to sleep, just ask source and ask your spirit guides. Literally, it doesn't have to be that mystical or that spiritual. You can just literally say, hey guys, help me out. This is a part of my life I don't want any more fear in. Whatever you got to do up there, knock on my head, whatever, when I'm asleep, give me a dream, knock yourself out. I'm open to it. Okay, good night. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
I love how you keep bringing that up of like literally just surrender, just ask, surrender, give it up to God, and that's all you have to do. That's
That's
my
it.
path, dude. That's what A Course in Miracles teaches over and over is like, let the Holy Spirit do all the heavy lifting. You just need to surrender it, put it on the altar, give it up, let God do the rest.
Aaron, can I tell you something? It's interesting. And here's another thing that I want to tell you guys. Like, we all have our different paths. And like, Aaron, you reference A Course of Miracles a lot, right?
Mhm.
So like watch this. So like, when you don't know yourself, what your ego will go is, oh my God, maybe I have to read the Course of Miracles too, right?
Mhm.
But when you know, like, what I have finally come to embody, and like, I'm just saying this from humility, but also gratefulness, is like,
Mhm.
it's universal truth.
Of course.
So how you get it, you get it.
Truth is true, man.
Truth is truth. And once you know it, you know it. And it's like, I've just kind of learned, I'm not saying, like, obviously there's more to learn.
Of
What I'm
course.
saying is like, the stuff that comes out, I didn't read it, I didn't study, I didn't take it, just I
It's
just
in
went
you.
deep, guys. Yeah, that's it. I just went deep.
See, that's know thyself.
That's right.
Discipline number one.
That's right.
All the truth is in you, and anything outside of you can just remind you of what's in you.
That's it. That's it.
I love the point you brought up too of the love and fear really being one. Like you can really see that actually by investigating what fear is. I sometimes will say that fear is just love turned inside out. You know,
Yeah.
fear is why do we fear? Because we want to be protected from harm. We don't want any harm to come to us. Why? Because we love ourselves. If I didn't love myself, I wouldn't fear anything happening to me because I would want something bad to happen to me. So, like, there is still love in there. There's just a fragmented perception going on that I think I'm separate and I'm all alone. So, I'm alone defending myself, protecting myself.
That's right.
But the same self love is always there. You cannot get rid of it.
That's right. Even a fear of death, by the way. That's the ego's greatest fear.
Mm-hmm.
What is the opposite of that, guys? Is that you love life.
Yep.
So just start loving life.
Yep.
Put all of your energy into loving life and live. Live abundantly. Live how you want to live. Aaron, right now we're looking for a house. And, my price point is in the millions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's in a couple of million. And I only say that to maybe expand your guys' thinking a set or whatever. But also, I started to realize that I created a story because I'm moving from this area to another area. And because that area is a little bit more pricier, then I started to see myself in like a lesser home. And you know what I said? Can I again be the real me from the ghetto? Real
I
fast.
would have nothing else, brother.
Yeah, I said, fuck that shit. No, no, I'm
I
not
knew
gonna
you
do
were going to
that.
say that.
Yeah, no. I want what I want. And this is my
Yeah.
life, and I get to declare whatever I want. So this is what I
Yes.
want, and I will not settle for anything less. Period. End of story.
Because what I want's what God wants.
That's right.
We're preaching, bro.
That's right. That's right. This is church.
It's church, dude. Church on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
We'll do one or two more before we close here. Somebody asked, like knowing what you know now, what would you say to your child self to help you avoid unnecessary upset? This is an interesting one for me about to be having a daughter. I've thought about this question a lot of like when you have gained a lot of spiritual wisdom, I can imagine it being a bit of a paradox raising a child because part of that wisdom is I know the right answers to give this child to help them avoid all pain, but I also know pain is the greatest teacher. So, like, how
And
do
I
you
also
walk
know
that tightrope?
it's their journey, bro.
Right.
It's their journey. So what I would honestly tell my child self is, don't worry. You're going to feel exactly what you need to feel.
That's a good choice. It's all going to be fine. Don't worry.
All gonna be fine.
You know, what's funny about that is whenever people describe near death experiences, when they're visited by angels or spirit guides or loved ones, ancestors, one of the most common things that spiritual beings say to us when we encounter them is, do not be afraid. All is well. All will be okay. Everything will be fine. They're always saying
I
that.
always say that's right. Because they're trying to tell you guys, live in love, live
Yeah.
life, have fun down there. That's what you
Yeah.
went down there to do. Stop stressing the masculine, the feminine, my purpose, my this.
How
Fuck.
do I integrate?
Go live. Go have a party. Go have
Yep.
sex. Go
Mhm.
have fun. Go make money. Go eat good food. Go drink a
Do
glass of
something
wine.
for crying out loud,
Yes.
because that's where the lessons are.
That's exactly where they are. Yes.
Like, yes, they're in books, but they're also in life itself. And the difference is life will give you the integration. Like, how many of us have had, we've made a decision that we thought, this is definitely what I want. Yeah, this is what I want for sure. And you made some egoic decision. It totally flipped, hit you in the face. And now you're at a rock bottom moment. You're like, what was I thinking? How could I have been so blind? You cannot forget those kinds of lessons, right? It installs something in you that you can't get from a book.
And again, I'm gonna take it a step further. Eventually, it will require a very special book to cause you to read it, because life is the book.
Yeah.
Like something's got to be really, really like not clicking for you to need to read a book. And Aaron, true story. I will grab a book. Let's say on marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's say on, the most I was having a difficult time with conversion. So I was like, I need to read a book. So I read the book Speak to Sell, which it's you gotta read that book, right?
Ding.
Yeah, I read 2 chapters. This is what normally will happen. I read, okay, I get it. That's it. I
Yeah.
need to read the rest
Mm-hmm.
because
I'm
it
the
gave
same
me
way,
what I
man.
needed. Yeah.
I've read enough books like ACIM, The Law of One, the I Am Discourses, where like from the opening page, it magnetically pulled me into it. And I was in some kind of portal while I read the book. Like,
Yeah.
this is what my soul is looking for. And so now it's like when I read a book, it has to have at least some level of that pull, or I'm like wasting my time. Like, I'd
That's
rather
right.
go live life and learn from life. If I'm gonna say goodbye to my life and sit on this couch for 3 hours and read, it better be worth my time, you know?
It'll be worth your time. That's right.
Mhm.
Right. That's right.
Life is the sadhana, as I like to say.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do one last question.
Let's do it.
All right, I like this one. This was all what our retreat was all about last week. Anonymous says, are we the creator or do we become the creator? How can we stop doing and start being? There's a short answer for you, Danny. Go ahead.
You are the creator. You always have been and you always will be. You're just creating from the wrong frequency if you're not getting what you want in life. Change the frequency,
Yeah.
you change what you get. Pretty simple.
How do we stop doing and start being?
Sometimes you don't need to stop doing. Sometimes you need to do more. Sometimes you need to step up the doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes you need to master the doing in order to go into the being. Now, if you're listening to me very, very carefully, if you are broke right now, and if you are unhappy right now in your relationship, and if you are unhealthy, then you need to do a lot right now, right? You need to go master the doing for the next year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years and master life in the doing first so that then you can settle into the being. Don't avoid the hardship. That's what you're
Right.
trying to do. You're trying, and I'm only sharing this as a man who has earned his stripes. That's where I can stand. You want to be able to say this. I can stand in front of 100,000 people and the truth will come out. Why? Because I went out and I lived it.
Mm-hmm.
I tested it. I tried it. I did it. I shed the tears. I went through the fear. I made the money. I lost the money. I hired the people. I did it. I did it. That's what you want to be able to say. So
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes you got to go do.
Hmm. Well, you can't stop doing. Like that's what life's all about. That's why you came here. That's where your lessons are. Is in, I like to say all doing should come from being in the sense of like who you are is how the actions will flow out of you to reflect who you are.
I get
So
that.
if you're doing bad things, doing things that aren't helping you or serving you anymore, you just need a new alignment with who you are and to let your actions come out of that. And so it's like feel that deeper sense of purpose that you know is inside, let it come out, let it come through, start saying yes to that feeling, that inspiration, and you'll watch how your actions will change dramatically when you start saying yes to yourself. And what's funny is you usually start being much more dynamic in your life when you're living from a place of being. The doing goes on without a doer because it's now just a reflection of who you are.
Well, you know what came to me again? Stop separating. It isn't doing and being. It's
Mm,
both.
of
Go
course.
go live. Go live.
Yes.
Yes, you'll find
That's
the
the
way.
message for tonight.
That's it.
Go live your Dharma, people. Hey everyone, thank you for watching today's video. I hope that you were truly blessed by it. And I wanted to let you know that I'm really excited to now be partnering with an amazing conscious supplement company called Organifi. A lot of you know that I'm also passionate about holistic health and nutrition, and Organifi has been a staple in my daily health routine for a very long time. They make the most delicious, organic, and high quality superfood products that I've ever come across. And as you know, a healthy body is a great benefit for spiritual growth because the health of your body directly translates to the health of your mind. Everything is connected. So feeding your body with high vibrational superfoods straight from the earth is one of the best ways to create that environment for a healthy mind. But getting all the superfoods that your body needs in one day can admittedly be a little bit tough. And that is where Organifi can add a ton of value to your life. I personally start every day off with green, which is Organifi's really delicious blend of 11 superfoods like ashwagandha, chlorella, and moringa. And then in the middle of the day, I'll usually have a scoop of red, which is a delicious energy blend full of 13 adaptogens and antioxidants from berries to recharge your mind and body with a delicious blend of organic superfoods. Your body is an amazing organic machine, but it needs the right fuel and signals to function at its best. And red is full of adaptogens sourced from organic herbs and medicinal mushrooms. And these are compounds that balance hormones, prime your energy pathways, and alleviate stress. So instead of crushing your adrenal system with huge doses of caffeine every day, adaptogens work with your body and give you natural, sustained energy all throughout the day. What's most important to me though about Organifi is the way that they go above and beyond to ensure the cleanest and purest ingredients in all of their products. They are USDA certified organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, certified glyphosate-free, and absolutely zero fillers. So I never go anywhere without Organifi and I never miss a day without taking it. And Organifi is offering a super generous discount of 20% off of your entire order when you use the coupon code Abke at checkout. So if you want to upgrade your health regimen with Organifi, you can click on the link in the description box below to learn more about all the amazing products that they offer. And I promise you that your mind and your body are going to thank you for it.